You've been walking through your life half awake, and then something happens. A name you haven't thought about in years appears 3 times in one day. A stranger says the exact words you needed to hear, a door closes, and another one opens before you even knock. You tell yourself it's coincidence, random, meaningless, but deep down, in the part of you that hasn't forgotten how to listen, you know better. The universe doesn't whisper, it orchestrates. Most people spend their entire lives waiting for a sign. They ask, they beg. They demand clarity from the cosmos while scrolling through their phones, numbing themselves with distraction, too afraid to look up and see what's already there. Because here's the truth nobody wants to hear. The signs aren't missing. You are. You're so busy planning, controlling, forcing your way through life that you've forgotten how to receive. You've mistaken the noise in your head for reality, and in doing so, you've become deaf to the language that's been speaking to you all along. But when you finally start to see it, when the veil begins to thin and the patterns reveal themselves, everything changes. Not because the universe suddenly decided to pay attention to you, but because you finally decided to pay attention to it. Think about the last time something felt off, a job that looked perfect on paper but made your stomach turn. A relationship that checked all the boxes but left you feeling empty. A path everyone told you to take, but your body screamed no. You ignored it, didn't you? You told yourself you were being irrational, overthinking, too sensitive. You pushed through the discomfort because that's what you've been taught to do. Ignore your instincts, trust the plan, follow the rules. And where did that get you? Lost, exhausted, wondering why nothing feels right anymore. Your intuition isn't a luxury, it's your first language. Before you learned to speak, before you were programmed with shoulds and supposed tos, you knew. Babies don't second-guess their needs. Animals don't rationalize their instincts. But somewhere along the way you were taught to distrust the most intelligent part of yourself. The part that knows before you think. The part that feels before you analyze. The part that's been trying to guide you home this entire time. Carl Jung called it synchronicity, the meaningful coincidence, the moment when the inner world and the outer world align so perfectly that you can't deny the connection. It's not magic, it's not woo-woo, it's the universe reflecting back to you what you're ready to see. Quantum physics tells us that observation affects reality, that the act of paying attention literally changes the outcome. You're not separate from this world, you're woven into it. And when you're aligned with your truth, the world responds. The signs come in patterns, repeating numbers, songs that play at the exact moment you're thinking about someone, conversations that mirror your inner dialogue, animals that appear when you need their medicine, dreams that show you what your waking mind refuses to acknowledge. These aren't accidents, they're breadcrumbs, and if you're noticing them now, it's because you're finally ready to follow the trail. But here's what most people get wrong. They think signs are about predicting the future. They want the universe to hand them a roadmap with clear directions and guaranteed outcomes. That's not how this works. Signs aren't fortune-telling. They're confirmation, they're validation. They're the universe saying, yes, you're on the right path, keep going. Trust this, you're not crazy. You're waking up. When you start to see the signs, it's because something inside you has already shifted. You're no longer trying to force life to fit your plan. You're no longer clinging to certainty like a life raft. You've learned, maybe through pain, maybe through grace, that control is an illusion. That surrender isn't giving up. It's making space for something bigger than your limited perspective. And when you create that space, when you stop drowning out the signal with static, the messages come through clear as day. Picture a radio. When you're tuned to the wrong frequency, all you hear is noise, static, interference. But the music is still there. It's always been there. You just weren't calibrated to receive it. That's what's happening now. You're tuning in. And suddenly, everything that seemed random starts to reveal its purpose. The relationship that fell apart wasn't a failure. It was protection. The job you lost wasn't punishment. It was redirection. The breakdown wasn't the end. It was the breaking open. Every closed door was leading you here, to this moment, to this awareness, to the understanding that you've never been alone in this. You've been guided every single step of the way. If this message resonates with you, subscribe to the channel and join a community of awakened souls walking the same journey of spiritual alignment. The signs accelerate when you're about to level up. Right before a breakthrough, life gets uncomfortable. Old patterns surface. Fears you thought you'd dealt with come roaring back. Relationships that no longer serve you become impossible to ignore. It feels like everything is falling apart. But it's not. It's falling into place. The universe is clearing out the clutter, making room for the new. And if you're in that space right now, if everything feels chaotic and uncertain, congratulations. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. Most people resist this phase. They try to hold on to what's crumbling. They bargain with the universe. They promise to change if things can just go back to the way they were. But you can't go back. You're not who you were 6 months ago, 6 weeks ago, even 6 days ago. You're evolving. And evolution requires death. Not physical death, but the death of who you used to be, the death of the stories you told yourself, the death of the identity you built on fear and conditioning. This is where the real work begins. Anyone can talk about spiritual awakening when life is good, when the sun is shining and the bills are paid and love is easy. But true transformation happens in the dark, in the void, in the space between who you were and who you're becoming. And the signs are there to remind you that the void isn't empty. It's full of potential, full of possibility, full of a future you can't even imagine yet because you're still viewing it through the lens of your past. The universe speaks in metaphors, in symbols, in the language of dreams and intuition. A feather doesn't just land at your feet by chance. A stranger does not look you in the eye and deliver the exact message you needed to hear by accident. The book doesn't fall off the shelf and open to the perfect page because of gravity. These are invitations, gentle nudges, the universe saying, I see you, I'm with you, you're exactly where you need to be. But you have to meet it halfway. You have to show up, pay attention, be present enough to notice. Most people are so consumed by their thoughts, so trapped in the prison of their own minds, that they miss the entire conversation. They're having an argument with someone who isn't even in the room while the sunset paints the sky in colors that would break their heart open if they'd just look up. Presence is the key, not perfection, not enlightenment, not some unattainable state of constant bliss. Just presence, just the willingness to be here now, to meet this moment exactly as it is, to stop resisting, stop judging, stop trying to be anywhere other than where you are. Because this moment, this exact moment is the only place where life is actually happening. And when you're truly here, you realize the signs have been here too. All along, there's a difference between looking for signs and being open to them. Looking comes from desperation, from a need to know, from a fear of making the wrong choice. But being open, that comes from trust, from knowing that you're supported even when you can't see the full picture, from understanding that sometimes the greatest gift is not getting what you want, because what you want isn't big enough for what you're meant for. When you're truly aligned, you stop asking for signs and start recognizing them. You stop demanding proof and start trusting the process. You understand that uncertainty isn't the enemy, it's the canvas. And every moment of not knowing is an opportunity to practice faith, not blind faith, not the kind that ignores reality, but faith rooted in experience, in the evidence of all the times things worked out differently than you planned, but better than you imagined. The signs will challenge you. They'll ask you to do things that don't make sense, to walk away from security, to speak your truth even when your voice shakes, to trust your gut when everyone around you thinks you're crazy. This is the initiation. This is where most people turn back. Because following your inner knowing requires courage. It requires you to value your soul's whisper over the world's roar. And that's not easy. But it's everything. Think about the caterpillar in the chrysalis. If you cut it open to help it, thinking you're saving it from struggle, you kill it. Because the struggle is what builds the strength it needs to fly. The pressure is what transforms it. The darkness is where the magic happens. You're in the chrysalis right now. And yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's disorienting. Yes, you can't see what's happening. But something is happening. Something profound. Something that will make sense later when you have wings. The signs are breadcrumbs, but they're also mirrors. They show you what you're ready to see about yourself. If you keep seeing signs about letting go, it's because you're gripping too tight. If synchronicities around abundance keep appearing, it's because you're ready to receive. If the same lesson keeps presenting itself in different forms, it's because you haven't fully learned it yet. The universe isn't random, it's rhythmic, it's intelligent, and it's always teaching. But here's the part that might frustrate you. You don't get to know the whole plan, you get the next step, that's it. One breadcrumb at a time, one sign at a time, one choice at a time. Because if you saw the whole journey, your mind would find 1,000 reasons why it's impossible. Your fear would convince you to stay small. Your past would argue that you're not ready. So the universe, in its infinite wisdom, reveals the path as you walk it. Not before, not in theory and practice, in real time, in the messy, beautiful process of becoming. Your life is about to change because you're finally willing to change. Not surface-level change. Not rearranging furniture in the same house. But foundational change. Identity-level change. Soul-level change. You're done pretending. Done performing. Done living for approval. Or playing it safe. Or dimming your light to make others comfortable. And when you make that decision, when you commit to your truth no matter the cost, the universe moves mountains to meet you. Doors that were locked for years suddenly swing open. People who are meant for your next chapter appear out of nowhere. Resources show up exactly when you need them. Not because you manifested them through positive thinking or vision boards, though those can help, but because you became a vibrational match for what you're calling in. You stopped being who you thought you should be and started being who you actually are. And that authenticity is magnetic. It's undeniable. It's the frequency the universe has been waiting for you to broadcast. The change won't look how you expect. It rarely does. You might think you want a relationship, but what shows up is a deep healing that prepares you for the relationship. You might pray for money, but what arrives is an opportunity that requires you to stretch beyond your comfort zone. You might ask for clarity, but what you get is more questions that lead you deeper into your truth. Trust it. All of it. The detours, the delays, the plot twists. They're not obstacles. They're the path. And yes, people will fall away. Not everyone is meant for every chapter. Some people were only ever supposed to teach you what you don't want. Some were mirrors reflecting back the parts of yourself you needed to heal. Some were companions for a season, not a lifetime. And that's okay. Let them go with love. Make space for the ones who can meet you where you're going, not where you've been. This is the part where you stop explaining yourself, stop defending your choices. Stop trying to convince anyone that your path is valid. You know it is. That's enough. The right people will get it. The wrong people never will. And your job isn't to make everyone understand. Your job is to honor what's true for you and trust that everything else will sort itself out. The universe is asking you to be brave, not fearless. Brave. There's a difference. Fearless means you don't feel the fear. Brave means you feel it and move anyway. You hear the doubt and speak your truth anyway. You see the risk and take the leap anyway. Because staying safe, staying small, staying stuck is a greater risk than any unknown future could ever be. When you look back on this time in your life, you won't remember the fear. You'll remember the moment you chose yourself, the moment you said yes to the signs, the moment you stopped waiting for permission and gave it to yourself. That moment is now. This is it. The life you've been praying for is on the other side of the decision you're afraid to make. So pay attention, not just to the big obvious signs, but to the whispers, the hunches, the sudden knowing that washes over you for no logical reason, to the way your body feels in certain situations, to the dreams that linger long after you wake, to the people who show up right when you need them, to the obstacles that protect you from paths that would have destroyed you. All of it is information, all of it is guidance, all of it is love. Your life is about to change because you're no longer the same person who started this journey. You've been tested, refined, stripped down to your essence, and what remains is real. What remains is powerful. What remains is ready. Ready for the next level, ready for the bigger vision, ready for the life that's been waiting for you to be ready for it. This isn't about perfection, it's about progression. It's not about having all the answers. It's about asking better questions. It's not about arriving. It's about trusting the unfolding. And right now, in this moment, you are exactly where you need to be, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's unclear, even if it's not what you thought it would look like. You're here. You're awake. You're seeing the signs. And that means you're on your way. If this resonated with you, don't just let it be another video you watch and forget. Subscribe, not for me, not for the algorithm, but for yourself, as a declaration, as a commitment to keep showing up for your own evolution. Because this is just the beginning. The signs aren't going to stop. They're going to get louder, clearer, more undeniable, and you're going to need reminders to keep trusting, to keep believing, to keep choosing the path that has your name on it. The life you're meant for is already yours. You just have to be willing to receive it, to release what's not aligned, to follow what lights you up even when it doesn't make sense, to trust that you're being led somewhere better than anywhere you could plan yourself. The signs are here, they've always been here, and now finally you're here too. Awake, aware, ready. Your life is about to change, because you are the change, and the universe has been waiting for this version of you all along.